While the X-Plane 12 beta hasn't wowed me in the way that I thought maybe I'd be instantly wanting to jump back into X-Plane, there is a really good reason I think a lot of us are going to try it out despite some of the downsides. And I'm going to talk about why I think a lot of people are going to be doing the exact same thing. Hey everyone, it's Hotchmania. Today I wanted to talk about X-Plane 12. Yes, X-Plane 12 came out. We did a video review of it, some of the early thoughts of the beta 1 that is out there. And, you know, it just didn't wow everybody. A lot of people kind of generally felt that it's a good improvement from X-Plane 11. Certainly the weather and the visuals look really nice. The problem is that everything below the cloud layers, with the exception, of course, of some of the puddles and accumulations and whatnot, the weather, is a little less than impressive. And I think a lot of us wanted more out of it, and it felt less like a major upgrade from 11 to more of a just a small step up, if you will. And while a lot of people wrote off X-Plane 12 already, just like, that's it, there's no reason to ever fly this simulator, I've been thinking about it, and while I'm not ready to abandon Microsoft Flight Simulator in its current state, I still think Microsoft Flight Simulator is the best looking flight simulator out there, and its aircraft are certainly good enough for what I'm looking to do. I do think that X-Plane is playing the long game, and in fact, sooner than later, I think it might draw a lot of people back in for one really important thing. Forget X-Plane 12 for a second. What is the chief downside to Microsoft Flight Simulator right now, and has been the case since the simulator came out 2 years ago? Answer: the aircraft. I mean, there's just not a lot of high-fidelity aircraft, especially airliners out there. I mean, we're more than 2 years into Microsoft Flight Simulator, and we have some couple of really good high-fidelity airliners out there with the Phoenix A320 and the PMDG 737. And also, I should mention the fly-by-wire A320neo folks. Those guys did a great job with it. Really love that. But that's it. An A320 and a couple of variations on the 737. How about the 777? How about the Embraers? How about the 767, 757? I mean, we can go on and on and on and rattle off all the important aircraft that a lot of people like, and those don't exist. Now, there are certainly some projects that are out there that maybe down the line we're going to get those, but until then, we're not getting them anyway. And in the interim, we don't have those aircraft, so it's still very much limited. And even if I were looking at my crystal ball, I think even the most adamant pro Microsoft Flight Simulator fanboys out there would probably admit that even if you go a year from now, you're probably looking at maybe a couple more high-fidelity aircraft out there, perhaps. Who knows? But the bottom line is we're not going to get a flood of them. So in the interim, and as of right now for sure, there really isn't a lot of great airliners out there, and even the general aviation aircraft that are out there can be somewhat limited. So now let's go back to X-Plane, and the reason why I think X-Plane is going to bring a lot of people back to the fold is simply because so many aircraft are going to and already are ready for X-Plane 12. When Laminar Research started building X-Plane 12, they made it so that essentially the upgrade from 11 to 12 for a lot of the software would not be that much of a difficult jump, in the sense that a lot of X-Plane 11 aircraft will require minor tweaks and changes in order to be ready for X-Plane 12. And in about the couple of weeks that X-Plane 12 beta has been out, so the full product isn't even out yet, just beta, we've had a number of payware high-fidelity aircraft and airliners available now for X-Plane 12. This includes the flight factor library of the A320, 757, 767, and of course you've got the Zibo with the 737 project, which is freeware, which is available and seems to be working with X-Plane 12, and there's a lot of other payware aircraft coming out soon. So what's going to happen over the next couple of months is we're going to get a flood, quite frankly, of X-Plane 12 compatible aircraft, and a lot of them are pretty darn good. There'll be some duds in there too. There are some duds in Microsoft Flight Simulator, so that's par for the course. Not everything is amazing, but pretty soon you're going to have a new simulator with X-Plane 12, and for what it's worth, you know, it's not quite as visually stimulating as Microsoft Flight Simulator, but you're going to have a lot of the aircraft we've been dreaming about flying for the last couple of years with Microsoft Flight Simulator. And I don't know about you, but I get kind of tired of flying the same planes all the time. I can do it. In fact, I do fly the Phoenix A320 all the time. But man, do I miss having other choices out there just to mix things up. And I think a lot of people feel that way too. And if you fly X-Plane 12 at dusk, at sunset, if you fly it in the morning, if you fly it when there's a rain cloud around and weather around you, you know what? It looks pretty darn good. And on top of all that, you're going to add all these little add-ons. You're going to get the ortho setup for X-Plane 12. You're going to get a variety of those utilities and add-ons that tweak and massage and make the simulator look a whole lot better. And at the end of the day, I don't think we're going to be too far away from an X-Plane 12 scenario, which you have a lot of great airline choices with a more modern simulator and a lot of benefits to it. Sure, again, it's not going to be on the same level, visually speaking, of Microsoft Flight Simulator, but I think the airliner library and, of course, the fact that the flight modeling in X-Plane 12 is vastly superior to Microsoft Flight Simulator is going to bring people back into it, or at least give it another try beyond, of course, Beta 1. That flight modeling, by the way, is a huge component for what a lot of people talk about. In a lot of the comments that we had about the X-Plane 12 beta, a number of people pointed exactly to that. The dynamics, the aerodynamics, the physics of X-Plane 12 blow Microsoft Flight Simulator away on a variety of levels. Whether you're talking about in the air, on the ground, friction, winds, all that, it makes a much better difference. Now, I'm the first person to say I don't think there's anything considered study level in a consumer wear simulator software. I don't care what one it is. I don't care if it's P3D or X-Plane or Microsoft Flight Simulator. It doesn't exist. There are things that are very high fidelity. There are things that maybe even get close to what you might find in a true study level aircraft. I'm using air quotes there. So while such a thing doesn't exist, there are much better steps you can get closer to that idea of study level. And certainly, I think X-Plane 12 is at that point. So when you consider the realism factor, when you consider the fidelity of the aircraft, the library of choices, I think once you get kind of sick of the aircraft that are available, the limited amount of choices in Microsoft Flight Simulator, it might draw people back into X-Plane 12. Time will tell, and I'll be the first one to see that myself if I'm really going to follow through with that, or just those amazing visuals, especially when you're low to the ground, on approach, on departure, will really keep me in Microsoft Flight Simulator's camp. Or, of course, we could do what my mom always does, which is just do both and play together nicely. We'll see about that. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think? Do you think maybe if you can look forward 6 months from now, is there a scenario in which you might be willing to give X-Plane 12 a try, even after seeing what it looked like in Beta 1? I'd love to hear the comments below and see what you all think about that, because I think there's some compelling options there. And certainly people have very, very, very strong opinions when it comes to their simulator of choice. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications. That way, YouTube lets you know we have a brand new video to share. This has been Hotchmania. We'll talk again on our next video. Bye, everybody.